Hello, and welcome to OMBA 580, Executive Leadership. I'm Dr. Dan Falvey, and I'll be your instructor for the next 6 weeks for our Executive Leadership course. I've made 3 short videos to introduce the course to you. And in this first video, I'll be introducing myself, telling you a little bit about my background so you'll know what my biases and prejudices are going in, and what experience I bring to our class discussions. We'll talk a bit about the class materials, and then we will conclude with an overview of the syllabus for our course. The other 2 videos that follow will concern themselves with our individual assignments and then the team assignments for the course. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My bachelor's and master's degrees are in education from Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida. Go Noles. And my doctorate is in applied management and decision sciences. And one of the reasons I'm teaching this course is that I have a specialization in my doctoral program of leadership and organizational change. Before becoming an associate professor at Baker, I had 35 years of business experience at 2 Fortune 100 companies and 1 Fortune 50 company during my career in business. And ultimately all of my positions in those companies were at the director level. My Baker experience began in 2004, so I'll be celebrating the start of my 10th year at Baker this year. And during that 9 years that I've been associate professor and chair of the business and management programs at the School of Professional and Graduate Studies, I've taught just about 100 courses, about a half which have been online like ours, and the other half of which have been the traditional on-ground courses. A little bit about myself. I have 3 kids. My oldest son is an orthopedic surgeon who runs a 16-physician sports medicine clinic in Sarasota, Florida. He's also the team surgeon for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Hurricanes. So he's living the life, having achieved his career goal to be an orthopedic surgeon in the field of sports medicine. My daughter, middle child, is just turning 30, and she's just returned from several years of living and working in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where she ran the front of the house and rear of the house for several restaurant and bar operations in the U.S. Virgin Islands. In addition to teaching, my passions are around the environmental movement, and I'm very keen on business sustainability and environmentalism, which we'll talk a bit about in classes 5 and 6 of this course. And my passion also extends to travel. In the past several years, I've had the opportunity to travel to China, to Machu Picchu in Peru, to the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador, to Africa, Kenya, and Tanzania for the migration of the wildebeest and zebras over the Serengeti, to the heartland of France, where I took a tour down the Grand Canal of the Burgundy with my daughter and had a chance to learn about the food, history, viniculture, and culture of the Burgundy. And most recently, my son and I spent 18 days in the Australia and New Zealand part of the world during their austral summer, and had some wonderful opportunities to see what life's down under, and have pictures galore to share with any of you who might be interested in my travels. I've posted a brief and very informal bio, I entitled it Dr. Falvey's Bio at our Moodle site, and I'll invite you to go there. It's only 2 pages long, and it might fill in some of the blanks in my experience that you're curious about. And I've also set up at our course Moodle site a discussion board entitled getting acquainted. Now, I know that you folks have been together for some time in your cohort as you're nearing the end of your online MBA program. But you're all new to me and I don't know you, so it would be really useful if you'd take a minute to go to the Getting Acquainted discussion board if you have a few minutes, and either post a little bit about you or post a little bit about what you've been up to lately, or post a bigger picture than the little thumbnail pictures we're able to post at Moodle. Or some students have chosen to make a YouTube video like this one and post it there to introduce yourself to me and let me know a little bit about you. Let's turn now to the materials for the course, and the first, of course, is the best-selling business book by Buckingham. It's called First Break All the Rules. He's written 4 other books since First Break, but none of them are as good a seller as the at the Amazon.com website as his original book, First Break, which makes me think that it's still an excellent choice for our course. And we'll be using that book for our primary reference for classes 1 and 2 of our course. Then for weeks 3, 5, and 6, we'll be drawing upon the student subscriptions to the Harvard Business Review online and hard copy journal that we asked you to subscribe to go to the Harvard Business Review archives and pull 18 articles that we'll be reading, some of which contradict what we'll be learning about in First Break All the Rules, and others of which contradict one another, which I think adds to the richness of our study of leadership, and we'll let you decide for yourself as the course draws to a close what influences you've chosen to make a part of your perspective on this notion of leadership. And then in week 4, we'll use that slim booklet that we asked you to acquire. It's called Influence, and I hope you got the second edition, because the first edition is very different, even has different authors, although it has the same title. And you really need to get a hold of the second edition of that book so that you'll be on the same page with the rest of us for the work that we'll be doing with that. Next, let me talk a little bit about our syllabus. You've received it by now, I'm sure, and I'm sure also that you've noticed that it's probably the longest and most detailed syllabus you've ever received and probably will ever receive. That's because I've customized it for your cohort and for each of you. Your teams by name or number, and your names are beside actual individual and team assignments right in the syllabus as we begin. So if you have the syllabus online or in your hands, you have the primary assignments that we'll be visiting during this course and who is responsible for what. The basic format of the course will be that some postings will be due by midnight on Wednesday of each week of the course, and then the rest of us will read and respond to with response posts those Wednesday evening postings by Sunday at midnight when our each week's module comes to an end. The assignments basically are designed to give you time between the original posting on Wednesday evening and the end of each week on Sunday evening to access the assignments that have been posted, post your responses, and take part in the dialogue around the assignments for each week. Some of the assignments for this course lend themselves well to both written submissions and to submitting your presentation or your review in a YouTube video, much like the one that I'm making right now for you. It's very easy to do. Believe me, if I can do it, you can do it. And I've learned how to embed them in the course, and you can get help from IT in learning to do that. It's really very simple, especially if you use the YouTube format. And I'll point out as I go through the assignments in just a few minutes which of them in video 2 and video 3, which of those assignments lend themselves to the video YouTube video format. I should say up front that the pace of this course is not uniform. We start off rather slowly with a rather light level of effort required of you, and then the pace accelerates, and toward the end of the class, particularly weeks 5 and 6 of the class, we have an enormous amount of deliverables due, and I strongly encourage that you not only keep up throughout the course, but that you also try to get ahead on the end of the course assignments, like writing your leadership development plan, which we'll talk about in the second video, and your individual book report, which we'll also be talking about in the second video. And as you know, you've been at this a while, makeup for online courses is virtually impossible, because we move on to the next module each Sunday night, and Monday morning we start a new one, and nobody looks back to see if postings were made late or if responses were posted late. So please try your best to stay up. If for whatever reason you can't make a deadline, please send me an email, let me know why, and I'll explain to the rest of the group that I've allowed you a day or so to put your posting up so that everyone will know when to expect it and have an opportunity to review it and perhaps respond to it. When a response posting is requested of you, as most of the assignments are for Sunday evening, it has to be a value-added response. We've been at this online learning for quite a while now, so you know that, yeah, you're right, or I agree kinds of postings add no value, and I won't count them as a response for the attendance for that week. So please be sure your responses are value added. By value added, I mean they should answer a question, ask a question, provide a URL or a link to an external resource that you've located that you feel is relevant to the discussion topic. You can agree with the previous post and state an example perhaps from your own life of why it is that you agree, or you can disagree. But if you do that, be sure that you support and defend your stand with data that supports your position. And of course, in an adult learner program like ours, one of the greatest benefits is that you'll learn not only from the course materials and from our discussions together, but from each other. And so real-life examples that you can add to a response make it a value-added response. There are lots of other examples, but those are a few that I'd give you to give you examples of what I'll be looking for there. Non-value-added responses won't be counted as responses, and responses are the way I keep attendance for the course, and your grades will come from the scores you get, the points you earn on each of the individual and team assignments. So if you want credit for attendance for every week of the course, please be sure all your postings are made and that your response postings are truly value added. Well, this ends more or less what I wanted to say in this first introductory video. Please now, as your time permits, go to video 2, which will deal with the individual assignments due throughout MBA 580, and I'd strongly advise viewing that video before you start accomplishing any of the assignments in our course. There are lots of tips and ideas there that may make it much easier for you to meet my expectations as you complete our assignments. So thank you very much for viewing, and I'll look for you watching video 2 as soon as you possibly can.